Hi, this is Carol Stimmel in the Engerati studio. Today with me together at European Utility Week 2016. I'm with my friends from USEF, Hans and Ulrich. And to get started on this talk, I'd just like you to briefly introduce yourself and tell me what your role is in the USEF Foundation. You go first.
Okay, my name is Hans de Heer, Principal Consultant at the VGL, and I'm a member of the design team within USEF, also participating in a work stream where we are focusing on aggregator implementation models.
Okay, thanks. Ulrich?
I'm a senior retail market developer, and as my title indicates, I focus on the development of the retail market. And being a part of this work in USEF has learned me a lot about the wholesale market, and you know what? That's what it's all about. Combining and linking those two markets and putting the aggregators in the middle of that. So that's also why we're participating as a TSO to find out how can we support that agenda.
Okay, so one of the things that I initially found intriguing about USEF is the way you describe this work stream. So it's a demand response sort of aggregation problem that you're working on, but you describe it as working on aggregating flexibility. So I sense that means that you are taking a little bit of a different perspective on the problem of aggregating demand response. So if you could tell me the context that you're working in, and just briefly what the goals are, and then we'll start talking about the objectives, timelines, and outcome.
Well, our context is on demand response. More specifically is on explicit demand response. So we look how can explicit demand response be implemented in the current existing market structures. And we're all talking about aggregators, but if we look at the regulatory frameworks in most European member states, then it's not defined at all. So we see that there is a lot of regulation needed, but also there's a lot of harmonization needed, how the aggregator can actually bring his products to the market. And that's what within USEF we are trying to standardize how the aggregator should interact with all other market players that are affected and that play a role in the flexibility markets.
Okay, so you mentioned something very interesting. I'm hoping you can follow up on this, which is...
I agree with Hans, and seen from a system perspective, we are introducing a new market role into the market, a very well-described market with well-described regulation, and we need to sort of fit the present market, not taking away business from the existing players, but of course creating possibilities for aggregation. So of course that is what we're trying to establish and to accomplish with this work, trying to remove some of the known barriers in the market, trying to lower some of the requirements in terms of settling and providing flexibility to transmission system operators or balance responsible parties or perhaps DSOs. So yeah, that is.
But Hans used a term that I wanted to ask you about, which was he said explicit demand response. Yes. Would you be able to describe that, and then we'll follow up?
Well, there is two kinds of demand response. One is the implicit or price-based, which could be variations in tariffs, for instance, variations in electricity prices. And then we have the other part, which is the explicit part, where we as a TSO want to require some flexibility because we can see that we're going to have a problem balancing our system.
Okay, so I think that is probably sort of the subtle lens we were looking for. So as we talk about, well, first of all, it sounds like you're designing a framework, something that you hope will provide a standard sort of implementation. But I do think that one of the important things that this work stream is doing is looking at moving in a new role essentially into the market in a unique way, in a way that can be replicated. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means, a new role?
Well, we think that bringing this flexibility to the market, and again especially the explicit demand response, is quite different activity than, let's say, current supply, current balance responsibility. So it's quite different activity, different competences, different business model. So we think that there is a need to define that role explicitly, and then, as I said, also to standardize how that role should be implemented. Because if we take a different approach in each member state, then you will create barriers for players that want to enter several different markets.
Right.
So there,
I think the thing I really appreciate about your project, what I understand about your project, is sort of this stepping back from the extremely fast pace we're dealing with right now, especially in trying to look at a new role in a market, reconstructing how a market activates in an efficient way, but also meeting societal goals. So I appreciate that framework, but in the context of that, can you describe to me what the output is going to look like? If I'm somebody that wants to leverage your framework, what am I looking at?
Well, first of all, we are going to announce a report of our work tomorrow during our presentation here at the Utility Week. And in this report, we were going to present 6 different models for aggregations, and of course those 6 models are built upon all the work which has been done across Europe, and of course also taking these models into consideration, we're also providing a lot of recommendations on how to implement them nationally. So again, seen from a Danish perspective, we are going to take this report back home and then tell about it, and hopefully we will be able to use it as it is to implement and aggregate a model in a Danish perspective. So hopefully the European framework will be national afterwards, after this.
So yeah, that's great, and so congratulations on that. I know it's been a lot of work. I wonder, in the last few minutes we have, if you can share with us something specific, either in terms of what one of the models looks like, or even what you're hoping, anticipating the value will be to the market in terms of anything quantifiable, if you have any sort of measurement goals in that way.
Well, I think one of the benefits is that if we look at the documents that many associations have produced on this aggregator role, I think our discussions, we have taken that one step further, because we realize as a group that there are many complexities in basically implementing this concept. So we touch upon all those different complexities, and we actually provide recommendations how to handle or solve those complexities. And we also realize that complexities may be different from member state to member state. We hope that either governments or regulators will read our document, use it in their elaborations. Of course, they're also free to contact our foundation for further discussion, for further support. And we're sure it will not be adopted for the full 100%. But if let's say the main elements will be adopted and will help in harmonizing those flexibility markets, I think that would be a major achievement for us.
That would be a major achievement, and an important one, I think. And do you have anything you want to add to that in terms of
well, in terms
targets?
of regulation and creating market rules, we are working more and more together on a European perspective, and I think that's also what we want to do with this work together, create a European market for aggregation instead of national ones, especially also coming from Denmark, quite small country, quite small potential in terms of our neighboring countries perhaps. So I think that's the main message from me, create a European solution on this, and I believe that the report is a great foundation of doing so.
Yeah, well clearly if you're able to harmonize across the member states, there's something there that can be picked up in regions across the world. So anything that's a good solid standard that proves itself, framework is always encouraging to, in surprising ways, people take things and adopt them in ways that then helps your standard improve, your framework.
And of course the solutions are probably going to be different from country to country, but we have the same barriers, we have the same complexity in our market design, so again it's the same things we're going to discuss on a national level, and then it's a good framework to have to sort of at least see what the discussions have been.
Well, okay. Well, congratulations, at being able to present your summary today or tomorrow, and I wish you a lot of luck with that. And yeah, good work. It's nice. We talked last year, and here we are again, and a lot has been done. So, Hans, Ulrich, thank you so much for joining us in the Angelati studio.
Thanks for the opportunity.